Good afternoon. My name is Lavinia Dondi and I'm a research fellow at Politecnico di Milano, Department of Architecture and Urban Studies. What I'm going to present today is a research by design discussed in the delivered paper by Michele Ugolini, Stefania Varvaro, Francesca Ripamonti and I. The location of the research is Mozambique, and particularly the Mo.N.G.U.E Peninsula in the Inhambane Bay, placed in the southern part of the country. Mo.N.G.U.E is the title of the research and is also an acronym that sums up the main topics we dealt. The research was founded by Polysocial Award, a competitive call for research by Politecnico di Milano, and it involved two important local actors, Universidade Pedagógica del Regaçado de Machixe as partner and co-founder, and Congregazione Sacra Famiglia, an Italian religious order who has in Mo.N.G.U.E one of its sediments. For the complexities of the scenario, the research had to be multidisciplinary and multidimensional to get a proper and sustainable project. The first steps were mainly analytical and even more crucial in a totally different context. Then we developed a landscape planning proposal at different levels and a design solution. Passages between scales and disciplines were extremely dialogical. Finally, the general aim was to set up a methodology repeatable in similar contexts. Portuguese people founded Mozambique's urban settlement starting from the 16th century, and cities acquired their complete layout only during the 19th century. They are along the coast for commercial reasons and represent still today the urban backbone of the country. The urban structure consists of orthogonal axes and a rational grid, simple to apply in the new land to colonize, where no sign of urbanity was present before. Regarding rural settlements, two other types of huts forming villages or more often gatherings linked to family ties. Rectangular huts with Swahili Arabic origin that generally do not identify a single core but instead isolated and distant units, and circular huts with Bantu origin linked to recognizable urban settlements. In the area we investigated, the one of the Inhambane province, the first type of huts historically located along the coast, with an essential increase in the number of units during the 20th century. Going down to the Mo.N.G.U.E Peninsula, the territory is close to the cities of Inhambane and Machixe. Inhambane is the capital of the province and is one of the most ancient urban settlements in Mozambique. Founded by Arabic and Indian merchants, it was a crucial commercial node during the 18th century. It was entirely rebuilt by the Portuguese during the 19th century, and it preserves the historical urban imprinting of the colonial era. But today the city is not as vivid as it was historically because commercial routes are radically changed. Machixe was just the result of these changes. Located on the opposite side of the Inhambane Bay, where the Mo.N.G.U.E Peninsula begins, it was built close to the national highway N1, today the most important route of the country. For this reason, Machixe is still having a substantial increase of population and consequently a rapid urban expansion linked mainly to informal processes that come alongside a basic orthogonal urban structure developed starting from the 60s. The rapid urban growth is thus an essential issue for the Ur Peninsula, whose valuable territory is mining by an uncontrolled urban expansion. What our research proposal aims at filling is a complete lack of planning and a poor knowledge of the territory by the publicness, due mainly to insufficient documentation. The method we followed to get a map of the peninsula as updated as possible consisted of updating an historical Portuguese map dated 1971, the most recent base we found, with data collected from the interpretation of satellite images and site inspections. The comparison between the historical map and the updated one, together with territorial section and landscape pictures, allowed us to understand and visualize the development trends of the territory and to quantify the criticalities. Fields of analysis are natural systems such as vegetation, wetlands, water sources, and morphology, and anthropic systems such as rural settlements, peri-urban expansion, the so-called expansão, and facilities. The planning proposal for the peninsula consists mainly of the institution of a park, considered as a tool to guarantee a sustainable development of the peninsula and a significant enhancement of that territory. We outline three scenarios linked to different ideas of protection and development, depending on the peculiarities of the landscape and the condition of the territory. The first scenario refers to the final part of the peninsula, the most valuable one, as the analysis demonstrated. It deserves the maximum level of protection. Therefore, the idea is to preserve the rural condition of the territory and place new buildings only in the Mo.N.G.U.E settlements. The aim is to enhance the historical artifacts and get a vivid place for the community by inserting new facilities, places for universities' research activities, a center for the promotion of the park, and accommodation facilities linked to the development of the ecotourism. The second scenario refers to the fringe along the coast and the Nanombe River, where environmental and landscape peculiarities concentrated the route. The idea is to get here a medium level of protection, allowing the development of new buildings only if they guarantee the visual relation from the higher street to the lower landscape till the sea. Finally, the third scenario refers to the interior part of the peninsula linked to the expansão to the south. It represents a transitional space between urban and rural, and it is crucial here to define a sustainable development strategy, integrating new buildings with proper soil consumption and safeguarding the landscape. The next step of the research focused on the first scenario, and particularly the Mo.N.G.U.E settlements, deepening the analysis of the site. Among the main topics, the conservation of the Christian missionary heritage dated to the 19th century, the bioclimatic aspects of the existing buildings, the environmental features of the place, and its natural and artificial morphology. The final step of the research was the master plan proposal for the Mo.N.G.U.E settlements and the design solutions for the main buildings. An essential concept that led the process was an idea of sustainability connected to the preservation of what already exists, minimizing the cost of demolition action, and most of all, keeping all possible traces linked to the identity of the local community. The analytical steps were essential to conceive a project as a critical reinterpretation of what already exists, deepening an inclusive idea of heritage. Secondly, the new settlement faces a specific climatic condition. The bioclimatic analysis represented a crucial step, and the traditional rural way of inhabiting spaces. What emerges is the intensive use of the outdoor spaces, the inside-outside peculiar relation, the importance of the transitional spaces, and the interaction between natural elements, the trees, for example, and building spaces. The use of modular units was one of the most important design tools to achieve these spatial characteristics. Finally, significant differences with the context we belong to and spatial uncertainties in the settlements, especially in rural areas, led the design solution to be completely rethought in their main architectural elements, such as the base as a constitutive element with new meanings, and the roof as autonomous disposal to relate different places. In conclusion, you can see some images of the design solutions. Thank you so much.